I did. I know. What, 9 o'clock? Yeah, I got it. It's good here. We're good. All right, welcome everybody. I'll call the town council meeting to order. Please join us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody. Good to see a pretty full house tonight. Thanks for coming. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from December the 12th. Are there any questions, changes, comments, corrections? No? All right. If not, I'll approve as it's submitted. So you all need, you want to, we don't really normally take a vote there, so we just approve unless there's any changes we need to approve. So you're good. We're good. All right. So anyway, report of the town manager.
Thank you, Mayor Black, members of council. Wanted to extend thanks to our host from Bedford County, in particular County Administrator Robert Diss and his staff for allowing us to use this meeting space while our elevator is being repaired. I also want to acknowledge School Superintendent Mark Bergen. When I reached out to both of them and said we had a bit of a problem, they immediately responded and were happy to help. And as I told Dr. Bergen, good neighbors are a true blessing and one that we do not take for granted. The replacement part for the elevator at the municipal building has been ordered. Repair staff from Southern Elevator were there today. It's possible that we may get that repaired as soon as tomorrow, can resume our regular meetings. Also wanted to report that demolition activity is moving forward at 112 South Street in order to facilitate a complete rebuild of that structure that was damaged by fire almost a year ago. There will be some street and sidewalk closures that will be necessary in conjunction with that activity. Our intent is to handle that on an administrative basis through the building official, police department, and public works. If we know of any long-term street or sidewalk closures that will be necessary, we will bring those to your attention. Also wanted to remind folks that a warming shelter is being offered in the community through March 20th, each Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evening at 112 Center Street. And I want to thank all council members and members of the EDA who have signed up for tours of the Bedford Middle School project, which will be conducted at staggered times by Dave McCormick on January 17th. Also wanted to report that I have received a basic timetable for proposed completion of the project from Mr. McCormick. I have forwarded that by email to all members of council, and I've also sent that to Ms. Circle for forwarding to members of the town EDA. And on an administrative note, I wanted to remind folks that town offices will be closed on Monday, January 15th in observance of the holiday honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That concludes my report. If you have any questions, I'll be pleased to respond.
Any questions for Mr. Warner? All right. Thank you, Mr. Warner. Appearances before council. So we have 2 people signed up this evening. If you would, just come up and give us your name and your address and give us your thoughts. First one is Danny Kirby, and then the second one is Jamie Kean.
Most of y'all already know me, Danny Kirby, 926 Watson Place. You know him, Art? Yeah. I have Mayor-elect, members of council, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I was compelled to come here and share our story with you. This past weekend, a lady I knew who had ties with the Bedford community years ago passed away. Her name was Fran Hart. She was 68 years old. Many of you didn't know her and won't recognize her name, but two of you sitting up there will probably remember her from the number of years of service at the police department. Fran was the second director of Parks and Recreation for the city. A.C. Fuller was a foreman at Parks and Rec. A.C. approached Fran one day back in the late 80s, if I remember correctly, about the possibility of putting up some Christmas lights and displays around the grounds at Liberty Lake Park. She gave him the green light to proceed. Now, I forgot to mention this. Before coming to the city of Bedford, A.C. had worked at the health center, so he was very experienced in putting up Christmas displays. He started off small, but over the years, it got bigger and bigger. Fran would order different displays over a year or so, depending on the budget. On top of the purchase displays, there were many homemade displays that were created out of sheets of plywood. Shapes cut out, painted, polyurethane, glittered added. And we also had the honor of having two very talented artists who worked with us at the department. Mr. Randy Lodge and Miss Linda Exman. I'm sure some of y'all will remember those names. The works of art can still be seen to this day during the Christmas season by driving through Liberty Lake Park. So next Christmas, after leaving the health center while driving through Liberty Lake, take a moment to reflect on this community tradition. It started off as an idea and a vision that quickly grew into something amazing for all of us to see. And to this day, Mr. D.W. Lawhorn continues to keep the tradition going by adding new items each and every year. So I just wanted to convey my condolences to the Hart family and give you a little bit of brief history of how it all came to be. Thank you, gentlemen.
Danny, real quick, I'm just curious, where did she live? Where was she living?
Well, she lived
Christiansburg. I thought she went there.
Yeah, she was in Christiansburg.
Yeah,
While she was here, she was on Stratford Drive.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Ms. McKee?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'm glad you all got your packet that Todd passed out to you for your session. This is about the zoning and short-term rental study for Bedford. Recent zoning changes in the town of Bedford include the proposal to extend short-term rentals, which are homestays, Airbnbs, bed and breakfast, other types of lodging accommodations, into the R1 primary residential neighborhoods within the town, and that has brought up some concern and discussion. The R1 neighborhoods are mostly comprised of custom-built homes and variations of style and designs chosen by the owners and were built by the families on lots they had chosen and purchased for the peace, privacy, and views, natural beauty they provide. The bulk of the R1 neighborhoods are located primarily in the North Hills area, with some others located on the outskirts and within the town boundaries. According to the National Association of Realtors, the addition of short-term rentals in primary residential neighborhoods may result in real estate and quality of life concerns. Property values may be affected by a decrease of 15 to 20% of resale values, and owners and realtors may be obligated to disclose that short-term rentals are in the neighborhood to prospective buyers, possibly resulting in a loss of sales and revenue. Short-term rentals in a residential area can also affect the peace and quality of life for primary residents, which may be interrupted by additional traffic, parking, noise, and even some crime issues. The information compiled below in this study that I prepared outlines what current and future lodging accommodations are or will be available in the near future of the town of Bedford. One specific goal of the town council and business owners that has been recently discussed is the need to increase foot traffic in the downtown area. thus supporting local businesses and increasing revenue. This study supports that goal and also supports lodging accommodations in the downtown and historical R1A and other better suitably zoned areas already offering them. Because of the location and close proximity to town, these areas are better suited and keep the visitors within walking distance to the downtown attractions and businesses. The goal of this study is simply to discuss the options and reach a consensus to satisfy all residents of R1 and the other areas by supporting current lodging owners and hosts by considering implementing the following ideas and considerations. A, grandfather in the current accommodations with as little interruption in business as possible, basically letting them carry on as usual. Bring all transient guest facilities and lodging accommodations into compliance in the near future with proper licensing, town safety, and fire codes, and that they may pay their 5% tax revenue obligations. We do know that some are operating under the table, so to speak. Offer business tools to existing local accommodations like computer software programs for easy business transactions, making tax contributions easy to pay to the town tax office directly with the touch of a button. Offer marketing support and tools to boost overall occupancy rates and revenues for all. Be mindful of saturation and room rate competition that may dilute business revenues. In other words, too many options with low rates will undercut the ability for larger hotels and competition to stay in business. And then leave the R1 residential zoning code as is and improve what we already have, bringing all to compliance. Right now, I won't go all through them, but we have approximately 20 facilities that are offering accommodations to our guests and transient visitors. And I've categorized them into ones that are in the immediate downtown region, and then we have some that are within a 5 to 15 minute drive from town. And then we also added the Boutique Hotel and the Hampton Inn by Hilton, which will be the future accommodations that are on the way. It brings us to a total of 404, and based on a double occupancy, which is normal for a reservation, that would give us 705 accommodations for guests. So one can see by the survey and the study here that we are in a pretty good position and will be even better as those hotels are finished, hopefully within the near future. So the point being that Bedford will be prepared to accommodate up to 705 overnight visitors, give or take, on any given day, many that are already within the walking distance of downtown. By that time, all guest facilities could be brought up to compliance as a whole and will be active participants in growth and additional revenue to the town for decades to come. While the residents of R1 neighborhoods could rest easy knowing that they won't have any more changes coming to them anytime soon. So it looks like with a little effort and a town cooperation, we can come up with a win-win for all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would wish to speak tonight? No? Okay. Council comments? Darryl, well, let you start down at that end.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I think probably the first town council meeting I ever attended was probably back in the early 80s. And there's a couple of things that somebody comes in that we're not doing now that I'd like to maybe us to consider moving forward. One was invitation to open up the with the council, and I think the representative from the Bedford Ministerial Association that rotated that responsibility. And then the other thing was whenever I would go into the meetings to speak with my chief at that time, I always saw department heads sitting there. They were available for whatever issues that came up. Just seemed like it'd be a way to shortcut some, get some answers to people in a timely fashion. Now, I don't want that to be an issue where the department heads are taking shots at them, that kind of stuff. But with guidance from town managers, I think we need to all know and realize the chain of command. that, they don't work for us, work for Town Manager, and, just having them to ask the questions, I think, to me, I think would speed up some of the processes. Other than that, I look forward to working with you guys. I've known many of you for several years, known of you, for the rest of you for a very long time, and again, just look forward to working with y'all moving forward.
Bob?
I don't have a lot of comments. I just want to say I'm looking forward to a good year. Really am. I'm looking forward to us reconnecting with residents. I'm looking forward to us making some great choices and moving this town forward. And I don't like to brag on myself, but if I brag on us, that's what I would be doing. But I think we do pretty good. But I really think the citizens of Bedford believe in us enough to give us another shot. And I hope we move forward with transparency. I just like to let them know on behalf of me, if you got a problem, don't come to me on Facebook. You come to me in person, or you call my phone. I don't do Facebook. But if you got a problem, please get it right. Don't listen to a lot of jabber. We went through that. We don't need that no more. So we're trying to start this year off with opening up our doors for you to get the truth. So if you're concerned about something, come to us. I'm committed to that. I can't speak for everybody else, but I feel like that. We want to start this year off trying to connect. Be a good, strong bond with all the council members, but Bedford is on the move. It's some good things happening in Bedford, and they're not too far off from coming into fruition. And I would love to see that happen. But I think our biggest thing last year, going into the end of last year, was that people felt like we weren't transparent enough. And the truth of the matter is, it wasn't that we weren't being transparent, we just didn't say it. But we want to change that. So if you got a problem, come to us. But like I told you, don't call me on Facebook. I'd like to talk to you. And if you got a problem, I promise you, I'll come see it. I don't care which part of town you're in, but I'll come see it. That's the way I'd love to see this year start off. Thank y'all for coming tonight, and I hope that as we move forward, you'll continue to come. Not only with concerns, but to see some of the good things we're trying to do. So thank you.
Okay, I just want to say thank everybody for coming tonight. Great to see a nice audience like didn't have before, but it's great to have people here. I want to welcome Councilman Foreman and Councilman Updike. Thank y'all for being here, and it's great to have y'all here. So I think it'll be a great team this year to move forward. So, like I said, last year we did face a lot of challenges, and this year we'll have challenges to face too. But the whole point is healing. We're going to move forward. We're going to make our town great, and we're going to continue to do what we've done in the past. So hopefully everybody who supported us before, they will support us again this year. That's all.
Sure.
First off, I want to wish everyone a happy new year. Appreciate you all coming. We are entering a new year, new beginning, new challenges, new everything. So we'll get some positive things going. Also want to welcome Councilman Foreman and Updike to the council. Great asset. Look forward to us working together and moving the town forward as usual. I appreciate Danny mentioning Fran Hart. I knew Fran very well in coaching rec football for years when it was in city rec department. And as DW and many know, that program at the time was second to none. I mean, Liberty Lake Park State Visit, State Bank. Saturday, you could hardly find a parking place for games and activities. She did a lot for the program, decorations also, the help she had contributed. She did a whole lot for the town and will be missed. Appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Well, welcome to everybody coming in tonight. We're meeting in a little different place than we normally do.
things interesting. Would like to welcome Mr. Updike and Mr. Foreman. I'm sure they're going to have an interesting time. Chinese have a curse, that you live in interesting times. That's about the worst curse you can have on folk. We're going to go through this next year. Should be really a lot of really good things should happen. Hopefully, we're going to see the completion of a number of projects in the area, and look forward to that. Without letting my mouth any further, I'll give Mr. Foreman an opportunity.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for being here again, and thank everyone for the opportunity to be up here. I think it's an honor for us to be in these positions. And I just look forward to the future, what we can accomplish and work for all the citizens of the town. And I'm available for anybody who wants to see me, just like the others have said. Thank you.
Yeah, a couple things. I just, in the last, I guess, couple weeks, our community has lost at least 4 people that were stalwarts and part of our community. Ms. Beulah Payne, who was instrumental in education and working with our young people over at the Ball Diamond, and has been an active part of this community for many, many years. And then this last week, we lost Mr. Harry Leist of Liberty Station, you know, a wonderful businessman, restaurateur, community-minded individual that, you know, was always a blessing to speak with. We've also lost 2 educators, Mr. Paul Sherman, who was a friend of my family's and was a principal and teacher and administrator in our school system for many years, and Ms. Marie Powers, who also was always the life of the party whenever you ran into her. If I've missed anyone, I don't, you know, didn't mean to do that, but I know those 4 people have touched my life, touched this community's life, and I would just ask everybody to keep their family and friends in your thoughts and prayers over the next you know, a few weeks during this transition. Another thing, you know, when we heard some of the community speak about the need to improve our communication, our access to be a little more, I guess, communicate one-on-one a little better with our citizens. So in that regard, I have scheduled a community engagement meeting, not a town hall meeting. It's a community engagement meeting this Saturday at Oakwood Villas Clubhouse from 9 to 12. You know, even though it's in Oakwood Villas, it's open to any citizen in town. It's going to be kind of informal. You know, we're there to answer questions, to take ideas, you know, hear your solutions to issues, you know. So I invite anybody that would like to have a little more informal kind of gathering where they can, I mean, every council members have been invited. You know, we've done the proper notice so that it's, you know, a meeting, but it's just a way to kind of hear from you all. It'll be your all's meeting, you know, and look forward to that and see how that will evolve as we go forward. Once again, Mr. Foreman, Mr. Updike, welcome. You know, we've had some good conversations already. I hope I haven't bothered you too much yet. You know, with my phone calls, you know, that's something that I promise you will continue. But welcome to, you know, the existing council members that are back. Like I said, it's an exciting time. You know, we're going to have some good ideas. We're going to agree on things. We're not going to agree on everything, and that's okay. But look forward to your input and the experience. I mean, you all been both community servants of this community for a long time, so you know, glad to have you. All right. With that, we'll move into report of council committees. No committee has met this year. I did. Everybody has their committee assignments. Deborah printed that up. And I also included a kind of a definition of what those committees are in charge of, so, we'll start having those probably pretty soon. Revisions to the agenda, one item on here, under the first closed section item, where it talks related to the ownership status of property near the Bedford Reservoir outside of town limits. So I talked to Mr. Lockerbie and Mr. Warner, and we're gonna take that out of closed session. It's just, it's more likely just some explanation and some cleanup, on some parcels that may not have gotten, there's some question about ownership and some, whether it was transferred to the water authority or not, so, nothing really earth shattering there. So, you know, I decided we need to talk about that in an open session, so, everybody okay with that? All right. With that,
Mr. Mayor, I think that just a reminder that we may wish to talk about the Ferguson track before the action on purchase.
okay,
Before that action item happens, but I just wanted to remind you that closed session might get swamped in there if that's the pleasure of the council.
so, all right, so in front of the item on the new business, just going to close session to get
Well, there's several people have, I mean, Mr. Wagner, I don't know if he's still here, but Mr.
Okay.
Wagner, Ms. Zirkle, and I all have pieces of information.
okay, so we're gonna move that item, it's the second closed item session
Yes, sir.
to in front of the new business. Okay,
Between items 3 and 4 on this.
yes,
Exactly.
everybody good with that? All right.
And then we're
That'll
out.
be a little awkward, because we'll, you know, just so the committee knows, we will come back out of closed session and then discuss the purchase of the Ferguson track in open. Okay, so if that's something you're interested in, then, you know, just note that we'll come back out of closed session to talk about that. All right. Anything else? All right, so the first item on the agenda is the appointment of Todd Stone as the fire chief.
As Mayor Black, members of council, in accordance with town code, we do need to appoint the fire chief for the Bedford Fire Company on an annual basis. Todd Stone has recently been reelected by the volunteer company membership, and it is the request of staff that you consider appointing Todd as fire chief in the town of Bedford for calendar year 2024.
I make a motion that we set Todd Stone for fire chief for 2024.
Second. We get a second?
Who was second?
I think Darrell got there first. All right. Any discussion? Questions? No? All right, roll call.
Mr. Carson,
All right?
Mr. Foreman,
Aye.
Mr. Hadley,
Aye.
Mr. Johansson,
Aye.
Mr. Stanley.
Aye.
Mr. Updike,
Aye.
Mayor Black,
Aye.
motion carries with 7 ayes.
Congratulations, chief. All right, so the next item is the authorization to place the order for a replacement ladder truck.
The Bedford Fire Department has a published replacement schedule for all apparatus on a continuous basis in order to ensure continuity, quality of service, and compliance with standards published by the National Fire Protection Association. The current ladder truck operated by the department is 17 years old and scheduled for replacement in 2027. This particular piece of apparatus has a current lead production time of approximately 3 years. Therefore, in order to ensure delivery by 2027, we need to act now. The current estimated total price of a new ladder truck is $2,249,587. There will also be an industry price increase of 8% that will take effect on January 16th, with another increase of 6% scheduled to take effect in July. This would represent an increase in cost of over $200,000 if we do not act prior to those dates. In order to avoid these projected increases in cost, staff is requesting the town council authorize the fire chief to execute a purchase agreement with Williams Emergency Vehicle Services to secure the production and delivery of the fire truck by the replacement date and at the current price. As part of an existing agreement, Bedford County will contribute $956,183 toward the purchase price. Fire Chief Todd Stone advises that $900,000 in savings is also available towards the cost of purchasing the truck. In addition, Seagrave will offer a $150,000 trade-in credit. Payment for the truck will not be due until July 2027. Tonight, Town Council is requested to authorize the fire chief to execute a purchase agreement with Williams Emergency Vehicle Services to purchase a replacement ladder truck at a cost of $2,249,587 to be deliverable in July 2027.
Do we have a motion do we have a motion from Councilman Haley and second from Councilman Carson? Discussion, questions? Who wants to start? Anybody got any? I got a few. All right. So obviously, the $2,243,000 shortfall we'll have to figure out in the next 3 years. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's unfortunate that prices in this apparatus are increasing tremendously. We've gone up, I don't know, 40% or more. Chief Stein, is that what, if you want to come up in case we've got any questions? How much would you say this has gone up, price has gone up in the last 2 or 3 years?
This is my 38th year being in the fire EMS industry, 31 years as a career firefighter. I have not seen inflation like this in my lifetime. Manufacturers are telling us that this is inflation that's not been seen since World War II. Since 2020, fire trucks have gone up 46%. And if you look at the numbers that the town manager just told you, trucks are going to be up 51, 52% by July. I've never seen anything like it. Actually, the lead time now is 3.5 years. Couple notes though is the Bedford County Fire and Rescue, or the Bedford County Supervisors, they have done an apparatus funding matrix, and in 2025, by July of 2025, they will set back down, and they are looking at a 5% a year increase for inflation. But in 2025, they will look at that and see if that needs to be adjusted. Just 17 years ago, when we bought this ladder truck, it was $700,000. So you can show, but everything that we do, fire helmets are up 20%, turnout gear's up 33%. Diesel fuels, everything that we touch has gone through the roof. When we spec this truck, we spec through the HVAC contract, which saves us a pretty good percentage. But the city of Roanoke, my wife is the deputy chief for city of Roanoke, so she's responsible for apparatus placement or purchases. They put off a purchase for 6 months just to see what the market did. It cost them $400,000. So our truck came in at $2.49 million. Lynchburg just spec'd the exact same truck a couple months after us, came in at $2.395, and the city of Roanoke came in at $2.4. So we're under that. Our volunteers that spec this truck, we really looked at being fiscally responsible. We didn't get a lot of fancy pull-out shelving and things of that nature, and we tried to just make it a basic work truck to get us through. So I hate to give you that news, but if you look, pricing's not coming down. So I think if the county of Bedford, if they look at their matrix in 2025, that's going to go up. So right now, I think, I don't remember that number, it's 958,000 or 56. So that number is going to go up about $200,000 approximately in 2025. I have reached out to my county supervisor, and I've not got any correspondence back. I I've reached out to Bedford County Fire and Rescue to ensure that they are gonna meet and follow their standard operating procedures. And I did get a email back from their chief saying that they would meet in 2025. So right now, we're at $249,000 shortfall. I think most of that will come in, under the new matrix from the county. We'll know in 2025. The good news is we don't have, this truck, we don't have to pay anything until the truck's delivered in July of 2027. So we've got a little time to figure that out. My biggest issues tonight is we got to lock in with this price, because I don't know what's going to happen. Now, under our contract, they won't even buy the materials to build this truck for another year and a half, because we're in line. Everybody from across the United States is trying to lock in pricing to get in. So there's a couple thousand trucks being built in front of us. So in the contract, let's say raw materials, we're having an election next year. The Fed's already talked about dropping interest rates next year. Hopefully, so when they buy these materials, if they come in cheaper, that price will come down. Our price, we also put an extra $30,000 in there just in case something happened, something we missed or whatever. If we don't make any changes, that'll come down a little bit. So I think I've looked at everything that I can here to ensure that we've got what we got. The other good news is this is a 20-year truck. We buy them, we keep them 20 years, and we take very good care of our apparatus, and we always have. The other challenge is our engine is up in 2027. That is a county-owned truck. Under their matrix, the county pays $395,000 towards that truck. The engine came in at $1.19 million. So that means the volunteers got to come up with $840,000, which ain't going to happen. It's just that type of donations don't come in. But we understand that the county has to address that matrix in 2025. So if they can get that somewhere around $700,000, $750,000, the volunteers can in turn finance the rest of that. We are in the process of paying off a $240,000 brush truck that the volunteers bought. 3 years ago, we paid off a rescue that the volunteers bought for $600,000. So it's really good for the Bedford town that we do have the department we have. Our volunteers save us $2.6 million a year in salaries, and they do enough fundraising to be able to offset some of the pricing. So I know I hate that number when it was read tonight, but there's only 3 manufacturers that build fire trucks. They really, they've cornered the market. It's not a lot we can really do. We just have to work through the pain.
I got a question. This C grade, you're replacing the C grade with a C grade.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Under the HVAC contract, if the truck does not go over the 30% of that pricing, then we can buy off that contract. That HVAC, is my understanding, we can buy, the town as a member of that. We can buy anything from toilet paper to backhoes to dump trucks to fire trucks off of it at a savings, because it's selling for volume nationwide. So we did get a little bit of a savings from that.
A couple questions on some of the things we've talked about. So the trade-in, the trade-in is being offered by Seagraves. Is that in conjunction with Williams Emergency Vehicle Service?
Yes, Williams Emergency Vehicle Services, they are a contractor for Seagraves, so they're the local salesman. What he is doing is he's offering us $150,000 trade-in for our truck to keep in his shop as a rental piece. Because if we, any volunteer or career department for that, if they have an accident or blow a motor up or have some sort of issue, we have to rent fire trucks to, if it's going to be out of line. So he's going to use it as a rental piece.
So nowhere in this contract is that number in writing?
It will be in the contract that we sign if this is approved tonight. It'll also have in there about the raw material costing of that.
Okay, that was the second question I was going to ask, because that's not in this contract either.
Now, that is the basic contract to lock in the price. That would be in our spec in the contract of the building of the truck.
Okay, so, and then, we also have the option to try to sell that truck ourselves.
We do.
To get more than 150,000.
Yes, depending on the market. Right now, the market for used fire trucks is through, just like used cars, is through the roof. So we have in there depending on market value. Now, depending on what the economy does, a truck could be, you know, in 5 years ago, that truck used like it is today is probably worth $40,000. I mean, I own 3 fire trucks myself, and I didn't pay more than $3,000 a piece for them. I mean, they're, you know, and I just tinker with them. Fire trucks, you know, they're a dime a dozen, but in this market, they're through the roof right now.
So will that be spelled out in the final contract
Yes.
as well, that will have
Yes.
that option? Okay.
Yeah, that will be in.
All right, now, Mr. Lockley, have you reviewed, this contract that we're signing now will not be, will we sign this one and then sign the final?
This is just locking in the price before January 16th at midnight.
And ensuring the delivery date. That's really all we're
Yes,
asking.
yeah.
Okay, so there'll be another contract. Do we approve that other contract, or is this, the vote we take tonight approve
Yeah,
that?
we will appropriate and encumber funds to do that as part of the budget for sure, but yes.
Okay.
Short answer is council will have another correction.
Okay, I just want to make sure at least somebody, if it's, you know, Mike or you or somebody reviews that final contract so that these terms we're talking about here.
Mainly, we just want to make sure it's no more than this and no longer than that.
Okay, all right,
Whether it's me or Mr. Skelly, at least one of us will.
okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that these things we're talking about
Right.
that are enhancing this deal a little bit are going to be actually in a contract somewhere.
Well, that was the biggest reason that we wanted Seagrave. They were the only manufacturer that offered a trade-in value.
Right.
And at that pricing, it was pretty good, you know, never heard of that before. Just to clear up one other issue, I went ahead and did a CIP request that you'll see for $60,601 a year for 4 years to make that offset of the $249, just in case something with the county or that funding matrix, they do something different or whatever. So, that's kind of above my pay grade. I was asking.
We'll be talking about that in a few weeks.
Well, and we also have the current truck that we're financing, that should be probably paid for by, I think we only got 3 years left on that.
Yeah, yes, we will be completely.
So, I mean, I'm not sweating the 250,000 too much. I'm hoping our partners across the street will help us
Yeah.
fill that gap, but.
The one thing, just remember that in 2007, when we bought really our first ladder, we bought a used one and used it for 12 years, and then we bought our first new one in 2007. We financed 100% of that. We really didn't, you know, kind of plan very well for that. And the town of Bedford has planned, and like I said, we put $900,000 away, never dreaming that COVID, if COVID wouldn't happen, this truck would have probably came in at probably 1.1. You know, so you're looking at, like I said, 51, 52% increase since 2020.
And that's good that we're, you know, we're putting some, and we need to keep doing that as we move forward.
And we
Some
got-
side of the next one's down the road.
I agree, and we gotta appreciate the county. I mean, just 2 years ago, the county of Bedford would only pay, I think it was $243. You know, they really didn't pay very much at all, and they have really, let's see.
It's gotten a lot better on the
No, it was
maintenance
seven,
side.
they would only pay $75,000 2 years ago towards that truck. So, and, they have come up to that, you know, and then their 5-year, 5% a year for inflation, they're gonna have to adjust the inflation side.
Any questions, any other comments or questions for?
I just want to say, Tom, I was on council in '07 when we got that ladder truck, and we thought that was a lot of money then.
Well, that was a shock, yeah, I agree,
Yes.
and, the mayor then was, not happy.
No.
You know.
Oh, you like I am?
But you know, it's a needed service. So
Yeah, it's,
we got to figure out how to get it done.
I think in '07, there was a big question, did small town need a ladder truck? And that was the big question, is not knowing how ladder trucks used. And real quick, you know, we've had the train station, we've had the Sister to Sister Cafe, we had the middle school, and quite a few others. A ladder truck is the only way we can cut a fire off. We gotta get above it and cut it off. If you look at the town of Benton, they had a major fire 3 months before we did in their downtown district, and they lost 5 buildings. We lost 1 and some damage to a second. So the key to that is getting on the roof, cutting a hole, and getting the fire to go up and not, horizontally. And they did that, and we cannot do that without a ladder truck. It's
It's
just
proven its worth.
Yes, sir. But we always appreciate you all and your support for us.
We appreciate you.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. All right, so we have a motion. We had a motion in a second, so yeah, I'm sorry. We talked a long time there. Roll call.
Mr. Foreman,
Aye.
Mr. Haley,
Aye.
Mr. Johansson.
Aye.
Mr. Stanley.
Aye.
Mr. Updike.
Aye.
Mr. Carson.
Aye.
Mayor Black.
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
All right, next item is the acceptance of the conveyance of Edmund Street Park.
The town and formerly city of Bedford has leased the land known as Edmund Street Park from the Bedford County School Board since 1974. The most recent iteration of the lease is scheduled to lapse on December 31st, 2027. For several months, the town has been in negotiations with the school board to acquire the property permanently. Following negotiations, the town and the school board have negotiated the purchase and sale agreement attached to this action item, which sets forth the terms of the sale. The sale is for nominal consideration. However, the town will have obligations to maintain the land and provide certain mowing to the school board on an adjacent 4.75 acre parcel as an extension of its regular park maintenance rotation. In order to accept conveyance of land, the town council must resolve to authorize acceptance pursuant to Virginia Code Section 15.2-1803. Due to the unusual mechanics of the school board's authority to convey property, this conveyance is somewhat complicated and the final documents have not yet been prepared. Tonight, we are asking council to authorize and direct the mayor to execute and deliver the enclosed purchase and sale agreement to the school board. Further, to authorize the town attorney to prepare and the mayor to execute the necessary closing documents to effect the transfer of Edmund Street Park to the town.
We have a motion to accept Edmund Street Park. Who moves?
So moved.
Second.
Somebody did.
Mr. Stanley. You moved. Mr. Carson second.
Discussion or comments? Anybody?
Well, this is done.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was something that has been weighing on us for a while, and I want to express our appreciation to the school board, to Ms. Kirby, who worked with me and was able to make this happen. The Ball Diamond, not the Edmund Street Park, the Ball Diamond is it's known as, and I'm going to work on trying to call it that a little bit better too, Mr. Carson. It is a vital piece and an important piece to this the neighborhood and that community, and we've been renting it since 1970, and we're now on it, and I hope we will make some targeted investments there and some improvements there, and move that park forward. One of the goals, and I've talked to Mr. Carson and Mr. Warner, is maybe in the next month or so, is have a second kind of community engagement meeting over in that the neighborhood of the Ball Diamond, and get some feedback from the citizens in the neighborhood on what kind of improvements they would like to see. So hopefully there's some more of that we can kind of maybe bring forward with as part of the budget process. But glad to see that we now the owner of that park.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
It means a whole lot.
Yes.
It really means a whole lot to me now, because the lady that ran that park, I mean, it was, ain't no other way to put it, it was a safe haven. The lady, my husband, that ran that park for the last Wayne passed away. She did. And I'm so glad that we got this park. It's not, some of you might not understand it, but we lived in that park. We lived there, we played there, we couldn't go nowhere else. And it's not Edmond Street Park, it's the ball diamond. You can call it what you want, but it's the ball diamond. And when people come in, they look for the ball diamond. And I'm glad that we got it. I know there's some things that need to be done, but I'm just glad that the ball diamond is where it belongs. And I hope it stays there forever. So, thank you. I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Bells. Mike, roll call.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Updike?
Aye.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
Alright, let's see here. Alright, so now this is where we've made these changes, so, I need a motion to go into closed session pursuant to, section 2.2-3711A3 of the Code of Virginia 1950, as amended for the purpose of discussion or consideration of the acquisition of property for all public purposes when discussing in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiate strategies of the town related to the Ferguson tract.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion by Councilman Haley, second by Councilman Carson. Roll call.
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Updike?
Aye.
Mr. Carson? Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
And like I said, just a reminder, so we're gonna go in closed session now, and
Rather than displace our neighbors, would you like to take advantage of the conference?
we can do that, yeah, and then we can just come back in. Yeah, I didn't,
Just,
wow, that's fancy of you.
Mr. Wagner, Mrs. Upple.
Nah, man, Mr. Lockwood.
Well, yeah, it's kind of your deal.
Yeah.
Council of the Town of Bedford hereby certifies that one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification resolution applies, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convened in the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the council.
So moved. Second. Roll call.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Updike?
Aye.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johannes?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
Okay, so, real quick, we'll just move into the discussion on the purchase of the Ferguson track. Or if we have a motion on that.
Yep. I have a motion that we give our staff the ability to renegotiate the contract because of some title and environmental concerns with the property.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second? Any further discussion?
Second on that?
Councilman Updike. So, you know, like I said, there's been some things that we, I mean, we want to do a solar project. That is important to our electric utility to help us drive down costs, you know, but there are some concerns with this, a portion of this particular property we would just like to, you know, have some further conversation on before we can make a final decision. So, anybody else got any comments or questions? No? All right, roll call.
Mr. Updike?
Aye.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johannes?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
All right, let's see, where we move here. All right, so,
Discussion of ownership status of property near Medford Reservoir.
yes, that's right. So, Mr. Lockerbie, if you want to give us the update on what this is about and what we need to kind of do, if there's anything we need to do.
Well, sir, the very short answer is it's about confusion and not much else. So if you go back to 2012, the 2012 to 2013 period, when the town was consolidating its water and sewer utility with the Bedford PSA water and sewer utility, a number of tracts around the Stony Creek or Bedford Reservoir were going to be conveyed to Burlock, the Bedford Regional Water Authority. I know you guys have a map and it's kind of an overhead aerial view. If you take a look at that, what happened was that most of these parcels here were conveyed to Burlock. So 55-1-A, 55-2-6, 55A23, I believe 55A22 as well. All of those were conveyed to Burlock. Another thing that happened was this tract, 55A16, was subdivided. It used to include both 55A16 and 55A16A. So that larger tract was subdivided. The town conveyed 55A16A to Burlock and held on to 55A16. The tract that we are currently confused about is 55A19. It is quite clear that there was an intention on the town's part to convey that to the Bedford Regional Water Authority, and that appears to be what happened in the 2013 deed, which was, I believe, from June of 2013, that conveyed the property. However, it's still carried in the name of the town of Bedford on GIS. That being carried in the name of the town of Bedford caused us to start picking at this bigger problem, and it started to unravel. When you look at it's clear that 55A19 should belong to Burlock. That's not in question. The bigger issue, though, is that the deed that's in question says that there would be some reconfiguration of 55A23. It doesn't say what that reconfiguration was. It conveys by reference to a plat that was on file. The quote is on file in the office of the city engineer, which I gather Wayne Hale says that he used to have the plat. I asked him before he retired. He had a plat that was, he says is almost the same, but it was dated for 2 months later. It was not put to record until after the deed was put to record. So there's a real lack of clarity about what was intended with 55A23 as well. Basically, what the deal is with 55A23 is the major issue here. Otherwise, it's fairly clear that we need to sort out 55A19, but that isn't anything that there's much disagreement about. It's 3.5 acres. It's part of it's in the actual bed of the river. All of it almost is in the floodplain. It's landlocked, has no public road access. It's not anything worth arguing about, even if we had anything to argue about. However, the lack of clarity in the deed does probably need to be sorted out.
So on 55A19, are you saying there's still some lack of clarity on the deed to that, or is that just as simple as getting with the Commissioner of Revenue and giving them a copy of that deed and say, look, this would be under the GIS and under the tax records of the RWA, or?
The question is, do we want to fix the bigger problem, or do we just want to talk to the Commissioner of Revenue?
Step one, I mean, step one is fix that problem. So the bigger problem is looking at 55A23.
Yeah, I don't know what might have been contemplated with regard to that track.
Is that part of the 140 acres we own on that side, or is that other tracks? What was those other, because we own like 140 acres on that side.
I'm sorry, Mr. You got me.
You remember we owned 140 acres on that side and 140 acres on the other side, and I can't
There's some
remember.
questions about the acreage as well, that's why.
Yeah, this 55A16, Mary had it measured at 60.54, but the surveyor says it's 57. Why did it change?
And assuming the 55A23 is the 140, that's probably the reference, but I don't know. I would think certainly they would have the rights to the area.
Yeah, the area around the water. Yeah.
And the back part of this would be accessed probably from Sucker Mountain Road, if I had to guess.
What was that?
This parcel is almost practically landlocked as well. I mean, there is a road access to
No,
the
unless you got something else. I mean, actually, that whole track is landlocked.
Which one, 55?
23.
Well, when you get there, there's no water.
Anecdotally, I think there might be a deed access, but I can't prove that, so.
It looks like there's one across 55A25. So if I'm understanding you correct, Mr. Mayor, you are suggesting that we get with the Commissioner of the Revenue in order to fix the 55A19 issue, which is, more administrative than it is real.
Right.
But then perhaps have a conversation about getting all of this straight.
Yeah, we need to get it all
Such-
straight.
Right deed references and everything.
Yeah. So we know what we own and what they know what they own. I mean, we definitely need to get that straight. I think we need a little more information on the 55A23 to 55A16. Right. So the A16, is there any question on who on A16, or is
No,
that?
that's-
Sir, we own A16.
We own A16, nothing, no
100%
question.
certain on
If you question on
55.
the acreage, what it is.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we probably ought to, if we're gonna fix.
We can engage our counterparts at the water authority if you.
I think we need to talk to them, yeah, and then, but on the A23, that's the one I wonder if that's part of that 100, I can't remember.
140 acres?
Yeah, well, it was, we own like this is only on the GIS stuff. Did we own the A25 too?
So that fell in the upper end of the lake. So remember, it's full blossoms at one time.
So maybe 823 is not part of that. There were two parcels over here that made up like 140 some acres, and there were two parcels on the right side of it. That's in the GIS right now, and I just can't remember which one. I apologize.
To know for sure, I need to get on GIS and play around for
Yes. Okay. So, is that what we want to do, is clear up the easy one? And then do some more, get some more detail on the big tracks? Because I don't want to give them something that, you know, that has some value.
Get the lower hanging fruit first.
Or I just want to make sure I understand what we're giving them, you know.
I mean, we're giving them a 3.5 acre parcel.
Right now, that's all we're giving them. Yeah,
That's
that's,
on bottom land, no road access.
yeah, I got no problem with that. To be honest, I don't want that liability out on that land in part of the spillway anyway. All right, we good on that? So, you need a motion or any kind of, or is that just, that's good enough for you to go right now?
That's good enough for now. Obviously, if there's when there's actually a deed and land gets transferred, that will at least have to go for a resolution, they need to go for a public hearing.
Okay. All right. Let's see, I guess, next item, we need a motion to go into closed session. All right, so closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3711A8 of the Code of Virginia 1950 is amended for the purpose of consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel relating to the outcome of Saddle Brothers Oil Company versus Commonwealth recently decided in the Circuit Court of Greensville County related to skill games. So we need a motion and a second on that.
I think you had another item at the very end.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna do it. You want me to do them one motion, two
We'll do them
motions?
together.
All right, so then the code section for closed session, the third one, closed session pursuant to section 2.2-371-8-1 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended for the purpose of discussion and consideration of evaluation of the performance of a public officer or appointee for the purpose of the town manager's review, annual review.
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mr. Hadley? Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. White?
Aye.